I work for the French National Institute of Statistics, and I am the head of the Agile Center there. I am a chair of Agile France. Thank you very much. Okay, first warning, some sentences may not sound English, because they are not. I'm French, so I'm not fluent at all in English. Second warning. I am fond of government efficiency, but I don't share it. Okay, when I go to Agile conference, frequently I hear about transforming organizations, and sometimes it sounds like a fairy tale. I like fairy tales, you know. First of all, a sponsor sends an emergency. You can discuss if it's an emergency or the sponsor, by the way. But Act 2, the sponsors choose a chief transformation officer of whatever bullshit job you can invent. And then the chief transformation officer gather a steering committee, you know. And this is bad. And they hire transformation consultants. The highest they pay, the better they are offered. And the consultants and the sponsor choose the visions and the strategy. You can choose which one is the consultant and which one is the sponsor. It depends. Everyone follows a plan developed by the consultant and the management. A plan in agile transformation? Really? What does the manifesto say about plans? And all that words and end words, all KPI are green. And okay, this is celebration, and you can go to conference and explain how good you are. Well, after a moment, I've heard that story a long, long time. Maybe you have read the book. The book says that basically all stories human invents are the same. It's a hero journey. All stories are the same from the beginning of humanity. And if you go to that conference, you hear the same story. Seriously, who can believe a transformation can work this way? So, my question was, how can I transform an organization another way? Also, I want to tell you a new story because I like stories. First of all, a bit of systemic. I will go really quick on that part, I'm sorry. A system. A system has got elements, the people mainly, a boundary, them not us, which is, okay, a boundary. Networks of relationships inside these elements, and stocks of resources they can exchange. And the system evolves. Luckily, through the flows of goods and services, through the decisions that are made, the feedback loops, and the adjustments people make. But the primary function of a system is its own conservation. Every organization prefers unsatisfactory. This is the moment I remember I'm French, so please read it. Known to the promising unknown. This is homeostasis. If you forget that homeostasis exists, you're dead. So, Christensen says there are two types of organizational change. First one, adaptative. Adaptative, you make small batch of change, and sometimes after they come back to the previous. And there's real transformational changes. Of course, we all look for this change too. And what we are looking for is percolation. I was very happy to find the word, because this is what I was looking for. Percolation, there is a theory about percolation. It's a moment that in a complex system, change happens. This is a moment when water turns into ice. This is a moment when the forest fire propagates. This is the moment when ideas widespread. What we are looking for is percolation. The moment when the transformation works. And I pretend that the transformation, you can't predict what will permit the transformation. You can't predict what will work. But at the moment, there is a percolation and transformation appears. So how can we change? In this book, Harari said that what defines us is stories. This is what makes mankind. I fall into a theory called social constructivism. The basic fact is each person constructs, there is no reality. We construct our inner reality through the discussions we have with others. That means that our reality is shaped through the interactions with other people. So, basic consequences. There are no common reality, there is no one truth, there is no one best way. It does not exist. And this is so bad for agile frameworks, mainly safe. Agile frameworks are solutions of a class of problems, limited in times and context, and they can't be one fit all for all. It's not possible, because we are constructing our reality in our context. This is Alistair Cockburn. He's one of the 17 people that wrote the manifesto. He says, the quality of the product you construct is directly proportional to the quality of the discussion inside, also outside your team. And I do believe that it's the same thing in transformation. I was too quick. You know, in France, we have a long history of powerful kings. Yeah. And we have learned to obey for a long time, okay, because there is a boss. And, well, the French management is constructed like that. The state is me, there is a king, and he has absolute power. Nowhere else in Europe you have found kings with such powers than in France. And it still exists in French companies now, and moreover in French administration. I have asked ChatGPT to build an image about French administration. Okay. So, 5 adjectives. Hierarchical, bureaucratic, centralized, rigid, efficient in known situation. Agile, it's the exact opposite. Non-hierarchical, anti-process, decentralized, fluid, I like fluid. Ari van Bennekom wrote a fluid manifesto. Ari van Bennekom is another of the 17 writers. And agile is efficient in an unknown situation. So how can you mix the two together? I work for the French National Bureau of Statistics. How can I make my administration more agile? Well, through performative dialogues. And what is dialogic? In Western Europe, when you hear about dialogue, Socrates comes to mind, because we have been to high school. Socrates, it's not the kind of dialogue we want. Why? Because often Socrates directs dialogue. It's not a real dialogue. It's a discussion between one who knows and one who do not know the truth yet. So it guides interlocutors towards specific conclusions. It's oriented towards the deconstruction of interlocutors' point of view and not the construction of new ideas. So it's highly asymmetrical. And this is not what we want when we want to create dialogue. So I put Socrates in my trash bin. Sorry. And I found Mikhail, because he's Russian, Bakhtin. Mikhail Bakhtin was a linguist in the early 20th century. Of course, he was Russian, so he finished in the Gulag. And invented a theory about literature. Very interesting thing. And he found that a real dialogue is polyphonic. Each one has its different voice. It's interactive, it's other-oriented, with specific values, social contexts. And everyone has responsibility for the dialogue. And this is the kind of dialogue we are looking for. This is the reason why dialogic can help us here. The dialogical dialogue is a dialogue in which everyone contributes to the construction of reality with their own voice in a responsible, constantly evolving way. And this is exactly what we are looking for when we want transformation. For me, the strength of Agile lies in setting up a dialogue that enables us to impact the system. This is our highest hope. We can't hope for better than try to impact the system. In order to build a new, more satisfying reality with our own voice. And this is what we try to do. So, in practice, what we tried. We used the ADCAR model. The first step is awareness. To create awareness, you have to inform. We invite guest inspirational speakers. One has not yet come, but she will. Yeah, she will. We give complimentary tickets to conference. We talk. But moreover, listen. The goal is to plant a seed. Then you have to create desire. You have to seduce. We try to detect and encourage the will to change. No irritant, no change. If everything goes well, you have no power to change. Okay. But luckily, in administration, we have irritants. That's a good point. We use the solution-focused ways of coaching because this is the way that works. Lots of people complains about what they live, complains what is not working. Okay, that's it. Interesting, we can listen to you, but more important is what do you want instead? Next, knowledge, then you have to teach. We have 4 steps: learn, unlearn, give keys, challenge and support. Learn, as most companies, I guess, we teach basically Scrum as the first step. This is the shoe RE. Second part is R, unlearn. Okay, now you have learned Scrum, unlearn it. What is not agile about Scrum? This is a funny discussion, because we have taken our times to explain that you will learn Agile with Scrum, and now what is not Agile about Scrum? And moreover, what is not working in your context? And third step is RE. We have spent a lot of time with people to create discussions. First of all, we invited Alistair Coburn, a lot of time, and we have co-created with him an advanced Agile masterclass, 2 days and a half, promotion at 25 attendees, and it works really well. In this masterclass, it doesn't explain techniques, but it teaches mindset, and it deconstructs what people think about Agile.
very promising. We had dialogical boot camps with a friend called Laurent Sarrazin, famous in French. 3 years he spent in Bangalore. This is where people learn to talk. This is where people learn to have real dialogues like we saw before. We have mixed all levels of the organization, and people discover themselves. A lot of managers say, oh, this is the first time I really discuss with my team. Okay, so much for that, but okay, it's a win. And we also have formations about liberating structures, BBLs, to bring other people. Give keys. They have learned, they have challenged their learning, and now they have the keys to construct their own reality, their own agility, in fact. And the Agile Center go with the team. I can't say more. They go with the team. Next step is empower. Empower people in public sector is hard because you have three kinds of difficulties. The first one is to change middle management. For middle management, we have created something interesting that's called managing dojos. Developers have their coding dojos. We have created managing dojos, a place for managers to experiment the new way of managing. You can't manage a self-organized team like a normal team. So you have to practice a new kind of management. And this works. And we have built a cursus of 4 days. The first Agile organization topology, we mostly present and fix, that you may know, by Jorgen Appelo. And we discuss about it, what sounds interesting and what's not. And mainly, we challenge the belief about how an organization should work, must work. The second day is about product thinking as a manager. So please, Mr. Manager or Mrs. Manager, don't stand in the way. The third day is about house leadership, a very interesting model, house leadership. And this is what struck the most the managers, because they understand what is their new role, in fact. It gives them a new metaphor. And the last one, we give them some basis about transactional analysis as a tool to understand, to understand their team, to understand themselves, and to collaborate in a more efficient way. Oh yeah, I forgot. First step, we have to say to them, to teach them, that you can't have in the same time trust and control. Sometimes managers say, okay, trust, okay. But trust does not exclude control. Do you have that in your organization? That kind of sentence? Trust does not exclude control? Nobody? Oh, okay, I am the only one. A lot of managers told me that. And do you know who said that sentence? Sorry?
People that don't trust.
So, I say, okay, you say trust does not exclude control. Do you know who says that? It's Joseph Stalin. Is it your model as a manager? And well, they become quieter at that moment. Agile Center has a real role in conflicts management. First, they don't create it, please. Sometimes it is the case. Second step, ask coach questions. Third, create space for dialogues. And fourth, propose mediation. This is the way it works. And most of it, we have mixed open space technology with agility because it is a way that works, in my opinion. Because it creates spaces where people can discuss the way they want to work together. So we use and maybe overuse open space. We use World Cafe, Lean Cafe. All is good to create dialogues when people can talk about what's bothering them. And most, we don't want to be in the middle. So we enable people to host themselves. And last, reinforcement, celebrate and promote. Well, maybe not really that way, but okay. So what did we achieve? About hierarchy, we are bringing people from bosses. So in administration, there are bosses, head of service, to host leader. They understand step by step that they can't manage the way they have learned to manage. We try to go from command and control to coach and support. It's a difficult thing. And we have helped to eliminate certain hierarchical levels. Not so bad in administration. We have met the Larman's law. I don't know if you've already know these laws about transformation, change, and the way any organization, and mainly middle management and first-line management, will try everything to save their soul, sometimes. And the number 2 is terrible. Because when you try to install a new transformation, you have to fight against the temptation to overload the new terminology. Wow, okay, your Agile thing, we are already doing that. What's new? You have, okay, we had project manager. Okay, that's just your PO. That's the same thing. No, it's not. But if you, it may appear the same, and you have to fight against it. I like that because I was born in the 70s, and this is the first film, Dune. You know, the first step to avoid the trap is knowing of its existence. So we have learned our Larman's law, and we try to be vigilant, but it's hard. And we met 2 kinds of phenomena. From middle management, okay, what will I do now? What will I do now if I can't command and control? What is there for me? And it's not very, it's normal, but you have to cope about it, and we have taken too much time before coping about it. The second thing is about learned helplessness. It's a theory by Seligman. Maybe we have the reaction, okay, freedom is a trap by the employees, by the teams. We all know the theory. We all know the theory. Agility needs a self-organized team. So as we believe that, we go to teams and we say, okay, fly little team, be free and self-organized now. It doesn't work that way in administration, at least. And you have to accompany, well, to come with. We have eliminated mandatory reports, we have eliminated valueless meetings, we install shortcuts in process, and we have defined local minimum viable agility. That means we have no business agility, we have no enterprise agility, but each team has its own agility, and it's okay. And it works. What about the centralization? We try to develop leadership at all levels. It's a Kanban motto. And well, at first it was really difficult, in fact. But we try to welcome decentralized decisions, to accept failure, and to take baby steps. This book helps, really. We give him to some managers, and they like it, and they try. And they try the process to change the language, to change things. We are here again in social constructivism. What about rigidity? This one is pretty hard because administration has to be predictable. I've had a long discussion with Michael Barley, which is one of the main lean thinker, and he said, okay, that's a bad idea. And public service can be fluid. I don't really agree. I understand what he said, but I don't really agree. But we try to focus on the exceptions to the rule. Okay, but not so bad. But there is a rule. What about efficiency? I said I won't talk about mask again. What we have done first is to increase the speed of bad news, because it helps to take strategic decisions sooner. And we have learned from the Notre Dame effect. You might know that the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris are burnt some years ago. And maybe you don't know why. There was some works done with scaffolds. And then there's been a fire. And a system sounds. But the people, it was at night, and there was only one young guy there. And he spent a lot of minutes trying to find the responsible guy able to say, okay, you have to call the firemen. If you've got a fire, you don't call your boss, you call the fireman. But he didn't find it logical. He has to be sure that his boss is okay with the fact that he called the fireman. And this is how we have a roof of 900 years that has been burnt, because decisions has to be taken with responsibility. And you have to accept complexity and chaos, but if you, well. So the pace of change is long as public services, as public actions must be predictable. Okay, that's okay for me. It's not a problem. But change happens. Our metric is employees' experience. And when we make statistics, what's the work? We discovered that people don't want to go back to the previous state. So it's okay for us. The change we introduced has improved their experience, and they don't want to go back. We use some tools. The first one is solution focus. Solution focus works for everything. It's a really useful tool. The question is not what's a problem, but what's working and what do we want? What is the future we want to build instead of the situation we have? This works in any kind of coaching. Narrative practice is also very interesting, and we have taught a lot of people inside the organization about these practices. I like Alistair Cockburn's work, and mainly this Heart of Agile, in Japanese kokoro, means heart. He says that agility can be summed up in 4 words. And it's okay for me. And it's sufficient. You can transform an organization with these 4 words. I can go back. And we use two kinds of models, open space data and mainly open space agility done by Dan Mesick, which is a real interesting agile thinker, and has made a kind of model you can use to create a dialogical agility in 100 days. Wow, it's a model. It's very interesting to read his book. After you can do your own kitchen cooking. We did. I've sent some bibliography for you. This is about dialogic books. Really, really, really interesting, all these three books. This is the most practical way to change an organization and transformation change. This book is a gold mine, really. It's a bit hard for me because it's in English, but well. Social constructivism is very interesting too. The way that we are constructing our reality through our dialogues. These books are really translated in French, but in very easy to read and very interesting. And the Open Agility Handbook, which is some of the book we have shared around our experience. Today I've been the good guy. Tomorrow I will be the bad guy, and I will explain how to sabotage your transformation. So be there. Thank you very much. Yeah, hi.
Hello. Is this on? I have a question about because you're talking about dialogue here, and I think when you use the term dialogue, the assumption is that we're talking and just talking, and I'm curious what your thoughts about just like other aspects of dialogue that are not talking, if that makes sense.
French. Can you precise your question?
So let's say one thing I sometimes say is, which I kind of learned from other things, is how do you explain how salt tastes to someone who's never tasted salt? Like it's not a, I can't talk my way through that. I have to get them to taste salt. So it's like this experiential aspect of dialogue, if you will, in the kind of meta sense. Like there's this back and forth happening, sharing meaning, etc. But it's not talking, or it's not just talking. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe we could have tried to have a dialogue here and to experience it, but I'm not sure I understood your question. I'm really sorry.
I guess let's say one of the things I typically do with this kind of transformation activity is because there is some things where I can't explain it. Like we can talk a lot about it, and I can even tell people think they know what I'm talking about, and they don't. And it's because there's no way for them to go from, oh no, this is what salt tastes like, and then they never taste salt type thing. So then you go, okay, I'm going to have to create an experience which then allows them to now begin to reflect upon it, and now the talking gets better because now we have a shared frame of reference. But without that shared frame of reference, the dialogue doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. Maybe I've understood your question. What is interesting about dialogue is it means that you are changing the way the people perceive reality. After their perception, maybe they can try something together. So this is dialogue after dialogue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it part of the dialogue?
Yeah.
Like a separate. That's the thing. Is like I go that having the shared experience to keep talking about it, do we consider, like I almost want to throw that shared experience as part of the dialogue process, not a separate part of it?
Yeah, you're right. It begins with dialogue, but after you have to how humans learn is by observing others doing things. But you can't understand what you see if you haven't changed your mental models, in fact. So both go together, in fact. You have to deconstruct the reality, then show something else, construct something else together with your hands this way, and then discuss again, in fact. I think there is a theory in psychology that say unfreeze your belief by discussion, construct, and then freeze a new belief. This is the way.
Questions? Hi, I'm curious about which narrative methods you've been using or that you've been teaching people.
What kind of method?
The narrative methods you said you've been teaching people.
Narrative practice. Yeah. It's a coaching theory brought by David Danborough. There are several books about it, and about story deconstructions mainly, and also you can use it. The Tree of Life. I don't know if you. Okay. The Tree of Life is a model created by narrative practitioners that helps a person or a team from its roots to its will, to its future, and to its core also, the core values, And the exercise is very easy to make, but very powerful, because it changes the way people see themselves, see their teams, and see their environments.
So is it more about self-reflection and discovery as opposed to maybe capturing?
Discussion, of course. Okay. Discussion. Narrative. You have to talk. Too much talk.
You talked about giving keys, and you said you used liberating structures as an example. I wondered, have you ever used Lego Serious Play in that process?
Yeah, also.
Oh, cool.
We used Lego Serious Play, and we also used some other workshops with Legos, because Legos are very useful to understand how collaborative work works. It's it's easy, it's funny. People challenge their way of working, and they are happy to do that. So easy.
Nice, thanks.
Merci beaucoup, Fabrice. I said thank you. I also, because you talked about the systemic approach, and actually solution focused is a systemic approach, either in therapy and well, it is. But I'm curious, what other really systemic activities or approaches do you use on the ground?
We don't really use systemic in when we talk to people. Yeah, okay, I will give you a teaching about systemic because everyone got bored. And well, okay, what's in for me? But we try to show that you can't change a part. Just consider a little part. You can change this. Okay, you can fire this person, and the team will go better. It never works that way. So this is when systemic appears.
So it's about the impact of the system. Yeah. Whatever you do, the system is impacted.
You're better in English than I am.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Questions? Okay, then looks good. Thank you, Fabrice, for a wonderful session. I hope
Thank
all
you
of
very
you
much.
have enjoyed.